and the meeting is called to order. So I would want to give the opportunity to my co-chair to also welcome you. So Rtn, my co-chair, Rtn Ogechi, please can you introduce, welcome members to tonight's meeting.
Good evening, everyone, fellow Rotarians, and to members of RC Tema Meridian. We want to say very good evening from District 9125. We are Rotary Club of Abuja, Gudu, and it's such a pleasure to be having this joint meeting. We hope that at the end of 1 hour, we would have had a very good interaction and the beginning of greater things to come. So I want to welcome everyone to today's meeting. Nice to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rtn Ogechi. So we're going to start with the Rotary prayer song. So please sing along with me while the audio is being played. Please, let me take over with the four-way test.
Okay. All right. It's time for our four-way test. We will be calling Rotarian Kelechi from RC Abuja Gudu to take the four-way test for us, please. If we have, I don't know if she's,
the four-way test.
There. Okay.
Good evening, my fellow Rotarians. The four-way test. The four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Four-way test. Thank you.
All right, sorry, someone's phone is causing a bit of some disruption. So thank you for taking us to the four-way test. So fellow Rotarians, may we always abide by the four-way test in all our life endeavors. Shall we drink a toast to the Republic of Ghana and the Republic of Nigeria? To the Republic of Ghana. So, Rtn Ogechi, please, can you continue with the apologies and the object of Rotary?
Someone needs to mute themselves, please. Okay, thank you very much. For the apologies from RC Abuja Gudu, we have Kizita Izanagu, who is not here. I don't know who they have. Tema, who is absent from your end?
From our end, we have Rotarian Blanks, who said, from our end, we have Rotarian Blanks. He said he was going to be a bit late, or he may not come, okay. Rotarian Blanks. So right, we have one apology.
Okay. Okay, we have one as well. So we can move to the next.
Okay, so the next is the introduction of our guest speaker. So I will invite Rotarian Adelaide to introduce our guest speaker for tonight.
Thank you, Rtn President. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Our speaker for tonight hails from Imo State, Nigeria. She attended UST, that's the University of Science and Technology Staff School, Port Harcourt, for her primary education, and proceeded to the Federal Government Girls College, Igot in Abasi in Akwa Ibom State, for her secondary education. She's a graduate of law from the Imo State University, Owerri. She was called to the Nigerian bar in 2005. Presently, she's the managing director of Aridos Investment and Properties Limited. She's married with 3 children. She's the charter president of the Rotary Club of Abuja, Gudu. She's been a Rotarian for the past 5 years. Rotarian President, guests, fellow Rotarians, let us welcome Ogechi Owadoka to speak on the topic, Conflict Management in Voluntary Organizations. CP, the floor is yours. CP Ogechi, the floor is yours.
All right.
Thank you, Rotarian
Thank you so
Adelaide.
much, Rotarian Adelaide.
Yes, if I may come in, sorry, Rotarian Ogechi, before you come in, I will try. Thank you so much, Rotarian Adelaide, for this wonderful introduction.
Yeah.
But before you speak, I would like us to take the object of Rotary and some few announcements.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That the object of Rotary will be taken by the Rotary Club of Abuja Gudu's secretary, Rotarian Chinelo. Rotarian Chinelo, you have the floor.
Good evening, my presidents, fellow Rotarians, and guests. The object of Rotary. The object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a worthy enterprise, and in particular to encourage and foster, first, the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service. Second, high ethical standards in business and professionals, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve the society. Third, the application of their service in each Rotarian's personal business and community life. Fourth, the advancement of international service, international understanding, goodwill and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. The object of Rotary, my president.
Thank you so much for taking us to the object of Rotary. And for Rotary information, I have some information I'd like to share with members tonight. So please, we want to remind fellow Rotarians to mute your mic. Those who are just joining in the meeting, kindly mute your mic so that you don't distract the meeting. Thank you so much. So I want to share the Rotary information, which was taken from the Rotary website. It talks about achieving your professional development goals in the new year. Become a more effective presenter, communicator, and leader by taking a series of courses developed exclusively for Rotary by the experts at Toastmasters International. These courses in Rotary's Learning Center will help you grow professionally and personally. They include develop a speech on developing current basis on your topics, audience, and goals. 2, deliver a speech on the basics of giving a speech. 3, inspirational speech on how to engage, persuade, or inspire an audience. And 3, interpersonal communication and networking on building and maintaining professional relationship and network. 4, leadership basics on topics like motivation, integrity, and team inclusiveness. And the next one talks about leading a team on creating a positive environment, setting goals, and delegating. And the next one talks about collaboration on understanding and developing leadership and collaboration skills. The next one talks about building consensus on developing the skills needed for effective and inclusive leadership. So this is the information for us tonight. So fellow Rotarians, a lot of courses for us to take. So if you have during your spare time, kindly log into the Rotary website and you have the opportunity to take all these courses to enhance your knowledge of Rotary. Thank you so much. So we'll move to the next, which is announcement. So I'll ask President Ogechi to go through her announcement before we take our announcements.
Thank you very much. For announcements for RC Abuja Gudu, we will be having our board meeting on Saturday. So all board members, please be aware that our board meeting will be on Saturday. And our back to school project, the vocations committee will be looking at that, and there would be a visit to the Angwa-Fulani community with respect to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And with us, as you all know, we have the intercity meeting with Jennifer Jones, the president, which is going to take place on the 23rd of this month. It's a virtual event. So all you need to do is to register in advance. And once you register, you'll be admitted, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. GMT. And we also have the public image and leadership seminar taking place on the 20th of this month. So fellow Rotarians, keep this date open for this all-important training, which is also going to be a virtual one. So let's keep the date, that is 20th of February, and take part in this all-important event. And the last one is about the Walk for Rotary, which is going to take place on the 27th of February. The Walk for Rotary, and it's geared towards raising funds for the Rotary Foundation. So these are the announcements for tonight. So without wasting much time, I'll invite our guest speaker to take over the floor.
Thank you very much. If you can enable me to share my screen, please. Okay. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Our topic today is conflict management in voluntary organizations. And I have decided to narrow this down, to narrow this voluntary organization to our own organization, Rotary. So basically, we'll be talking about conflict management in our Rotary, Club. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can.
You hear me? If you just nod your head or something. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay, so I'll just take an introduction. As a Rotarian, we're all volunteers. And so being volunteers, we should be comfortable coming to our meetings and programs and everything we have. But we should be able to come for these things knowing that we're in a safe environment, knowing that we're in a place where mutual respect for one another thrives. Rotary has promised us our fellowships, our meetings would be a place of fun and excitement. So generally, coming for a Rotary meeting should be a place where we meet a group of people, a place we actually do look forward to coming to. Now, what is a conflict? There are different definitions as to what a conflict is. scholars have, given it different meanings, but at least they all agree on something. And what is that? They all agree that conflicts are inevitable. So I have decided to go by saying a conflict is occurring in all human relationships. When there's a struggle, when there's an opposition, when there's incompatibility, of views, divergence of interest, interference, whatever it is termed a conflict. It doesn't always have to be war. Sometimes when we hear conflict, everyone averts their mind to, times of war. So this little interpersonal squabbles we have as human beings basically can also be termed as a conflict. The topic today talks about conflict management. So what is conflict management? I think someone needs to mute themselves, please. Someone needs to mute themselves. Thank you. Conflict management basically is also known as conflict resolution. So this just describes, a situation where stop or stem a conflict in its tide, and then an organization having a team or a group of persons who would be able to resolve those conflicts whenever they do arise. Because yes, conflicts will always arise. It says poor communication or interpersonal tension can easily cause simple disagreements to flow up into resentment or worse. So just even saying a bad word or saying something that doesn't go down well with the next person can actually lead to a conflict. Conflicts that are allowed to fester and grow will ultimately diminish productivity and damage volunteers' morale. Remember, we use that at our meetings as an introduction. If I'm in a club, generally, if I'm in a club and it just continues having this negative vibe, the tension is always there. I definitely won't be able to give my best as a volunteer. So it says, imagine you come to your club's meeting and you are a member, you are constantly undermined. The zeal to continue as a Rotarian, the zeal to continue as a club member begins to fade. That's what we're talking about. So if Rotary promises me a serene atmosphere, a nice meeting place whenever I come, and every time I come there, I just feel, out of the pack, I, at some point, will begin to lose the focus for which I am a Rotarian or for which I am a member of the club. At some point, I just begin to not want to even come to the meeting again, not want to see members again. So conflict management or resolution actually helps us to find solutions to these internal, relationship issues we have, which is basically what this kind of conflict is. Now let's look at the importance of conflict management. Conflict management should never be taken lightly. Most people overlook it. Most people don't want to believe it exists. Most people just don't know what to do with it. Managing conflicts within an organization very well can help in finding lasting solutions to internal relationship issues. It will prevent environments that is filled with tension and negativity. As an organization, we have people with different opinions, people from different ideas, and we are all in the same space. It means conflicts are bound to happen. So the question is, what do we do when this kind of conflicts arise? How do we go about tackling this kind of, little tension and negativity within our clubs? So 6 steps of conflict resolution. The first one says, clarify what the disagreement is about. When there is an issue, if you have no idea what the issue is about, you most certainly won't be able to sort whatever the problem is. So I think the first thing is we should always know what that disagreement is about, what has caused it. And then the next thing would be to establish a common goal for both parties. Where you have 2 warring factions, it has to be, what are we going to do? What do we do to get it right? What do we do to be sure that both sides, at the end of the day, no one feels hurt, or both sides feel satisfied with whatever the outcome of that resolution will be? Now it says we should discuss ways to meet the common goal. So if we know what the problem is and we establish a common goal for both parties, how then do we achieve this goal? That's the third thing. The fourth thing is, when we know the way to achieve the goal, what are the possible barriers that will, stop us, that will mitigate us from getting to our end result? And then we should also agree on the best way to resolve this conflict. And then finally, it says we should acknowledge the agreed solution and determine the responsibility each party has in the resolution. So it means whatever decision we arrive at as a mediator, or as in a case of mediation, you have to be sure that the solutions, you have to acknowledge the agreed solution. It means each party has to have a stake in whatever the solution is, and then you determine who does what and who will do what to make sure that that solution, remains. And then the conflict resolution strategies. There are a lot of strategies for conflict resolution that has been propounded. But I would like us to look at the Thomas and Kilman model. This model it's actually even, it's even encouraged by Rotary. I mean, if you go to the Rotary Learning Center, the Thomas Kilman model is one of the models that Rotary uses to show us examples of how we can mitigate these things when they do arise, because they definitely would arise. And so the first strategy is avoiding. The avoiding strategy is when we decide to ignore, we just behave like nothing is happening and we hope that it will resolve itself. But the question with this strategy is, what happens when you ignore and then the situation never resolves itself? Another strategy we can look at is the accommodating strategy. Now, this kind of strategy involves taking steps to satisfy the other party's concern or demands at the expense of your own needs or desire. So this is basically, one of those strategies where we say, I have decided to step, accommodating this. It might not necessarily satisfy my own concerns, but if it's going to bring about peace, why not? That's what the accommodating, And then the next is compromising. Now, compromising is when we find an acceptable resolution that will partly, but not entirely, satisfy the concerns of all parties involved. So basically, this is more of a give and take, a give and take type of strategy, where I cannot have it all. I cannot have all 100%, but I can just have something that, would kind of assuage my feelings, will kind of, to a certain extent, be able to solve what that issue is. That is what the compromising strategy talks about. Now, competing. Competing tries to satisfy one person's desire at the expense of the other. And it's also a way of saying, okay, for peace to reign, I will do this. But most times, this kind of strategy might end up, festering something else at the later on. And then the final one is the collaborating strategy. The collaborating strategy is more an ideal strategy, but doesn't always work in all situations. This is the strategy where we find a solution that satisfies the concerns of all involved parties. What the collaborative strategy does is, at the end of it, the whole resolution thing, it means we all live with 100% satisfaction. For this 5 strategies as posited by Thomas Kilman, it says it identifies 2 dimensions, like it says it people into 2 dimensions for these strategies to be able to work. And it categorizes them into, someone needs to mute themselves, please. Please mute yourself. Okay, let's go on to the assertive and the cooperative. So it talks about, it says, identify 2 dimensions people fall into when choosing a conflict resolution strategy, and that is the assertiveness and the cooperativeness. So assertiveness involves taking action to satisfy your own needs, while cooperativeness in or the other party's needs. Now it says each of the conflict resolution, this is as per Thomas Kelman, it says each of the conflict resolution strategies involves different degrees of assertiveness and cooperativeness. It includes a higher degree of cooperativeness over a lower degree of assertiveness. While the competing strategy would consist of a low degree of cooperativeness and a high degree of assertiveness. However, we encourage as Rotarians to have a conflict management team or a conflict resolution committee or team in our clubs. And these committees should be strengthened and encouraged to be as effective as possible. A lot of clubs have resolution committees or conflict management teams, but most of them really don't do anything. So when an issue arises, they just kind of overlook it and it keeps festering. It says, let us be mindful of silent conflicts. Those have a potential for greater damage. Silent conflicts are those kind of conflicts where both parties never speak up, they never speak out, so you never really know that there is a conflict, you know, you never really know something is brewing. But what happens is it begins to divide a club because party A has people on his or her side, party B has people on his or her side. Nobody really talks about this conflict. And most times in the silent conflict, everyone wants to just have the avoidance strategy and they want to believe that this kind of conflict will resolve itself. But it is really, really a dangerous type of conflict because it has that potential to create a greater level of damage. And so in conclusion, I would want to say as a conflict manager, as conflict managers, we're all conflict managers, don't get involved in the issue. Never take sides. Listen to both parties. Focus on specific issues without generalizing or escalating the situation. Most people just leave the crux of the matter and they begin to go round and round and round. And in doing this kind of thing, you are actually even creating more problems. So please just focus on specific issues without generalizing or escalating the situation. One thing again is we should never a conflict. Don't be afraid of a conflict, embrace it because it has the potential of escalating if not handled immediately and amicably. And remember, as human beings, these conflicts will always arise. So when they do, just make sure they are handled immediately, as quickly as possible, and as amicably as possible. Finally, I would want to say Rotary is all about peace, and peace we should all maintain at all times. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Rtn Ogechi, for this wonderful presentation. So, fellow Rotarians, the floor is open for questions. Question time. Kindly raise your hands, or if you have a contribution as well. Okay, I want to begin with the question time. So you spoke about when there are conflicts in the club, there should be do you say a committee or a group of people to handle conflict? So I wanted to find out those who are supposed to solve to resolve conflict. What if they themselves are part of the conflict? Then who then handles conflict within the club?
Okay. let me take that. Yes, in the course of the discussion, I said every club must have a conflict committee, or every club must have a conflict management. Different clubs give it different names, but I want to believe they all do the same thing. Now, if the people in the committee, if they are the ones who have the issue, I think it behoves on the club. When I say the club right now, maybe I mean the board of directors of that club. It behoves on that club to quickly form another group, because two fighting people can definitely not, able to give adequate solutions to their issues. There's something, I don't know about your district, but in my district, District 9125, there is something that most clubs have adopted, which is called the League of Past Presidents. So every club, in a club, the past presidents are actually like what we call the conflict management team. That is what we do here. So when there are issues in the club, it's taken to doubt amongst themselves. They could say, okay, 1, 2, 3, take this issue and deal with it. Otherwise, we can all sit and deal with it. But if the people who are responsible for dealing with this kind of conflicts are in conflict themselves, or are even the cause of the conflict, then nothing stops the club from picking another group to say, okay, this is the issue we have. The reason is this: when conflicts are left to fester, they begin to spread so rapidly that at the end of the day, you can't even pinpoint what the original issue of that conflict was. How did the conflict arise? So that is why at the time it just begins to rear its head, it is advisable to always nip this at the board and nip it on time. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Yeah, thank you so much. So we have Prosper. Prosper has a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, mine is largely a contribution and not a question. My first contribution is to ask my dear sister to share with me her Word document. So I'll put it in a very nice PowerPoint presentation for her. That's my first contribution. Second, usually when it comes to conflict resolution, identification of the conflict itself is key to the conflict. First of all, what are the elements of a conflict? First, the parties. Second, the conflict itself. And then third, the mediators. Now, in all of this, you would need to identify what exactly is happening. Usually when it comes to the parties, where conflict arises, first of all, it is conflict with self. 2, it's conflict with another. And 3, it's conflict with the environment. So somebody goes into a Rotary meeting and sees somebody perhaps he's got some personality issues with, and likely there's a likelihood that conflict will arise. Now, the conflict itself, you need to know the type of conflict. Now, the third one is the mediators, and that is where the major problem is. Now, if you don't manage mediators in a conflict, conflicts are not resolved. That is where conflicts take a very shadow tone, where it seems to be resolved, but underneath there is a conflict. So what I want to know from the speaker, apart from my contribution, is how do you deal with mediation in a conflict situation? Now, we have situations where there is a conflict team in place. Some conflicts go beyond the conflict team in place, because like the first questioner said, there's a likelihood one of the mediators, or almost all the mediators, are part of a conflict. How do you deal with mediation in conflict resolution? Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other, sorry, someone needs to mute. Is there any other question, or I take them all at once, or I just go? Okay, let me take yours. Now, I think, it's almost the same with the last question that was asked. When you have mediators in a conflict, I don't want to believe that those mediators are cast in stone. Most times these mediators are also, we're using our Rotary clubs as, we're using it as an example. So most of these mediators are already members of that club. They are already members of the club where these issues are arising. And then again, we should remember these mediators are also humans. So it's possible if I were to have a problem with one person, let's say in my club, and then this goes to the mediators or the conflict managers of the club, it's very, very likely that I have one or two members of that mediating team who are going to be on my side. So at that point, it becomes kind of very difficult to get an impartial type of resolution. I think this is like every other kind of issues you have. Like I said, I don't know how it works in your own district, but if at the club level, you are not able to solve these issues, if at your League of Past Presidents level, you are not able to solve these issues, you can take those issues out of your club. You can take it out of the club. In my district, there are situations where, issues comes up in clubs and it is so difficult because everybody thinks the next person is biased. Why? Because they are all club members. So what happens is the district now sets up a team. So the district brings in external, mediators, so to speak, and brings them in to settle whatever the issue is in that club. So at that point, the district is picking the mediators. They are not necessarily taking mediators from the particular club again. So like I said, these mediators are not cast in stone. If you feel the mediators in a club are biased, if you feel they would never give, a straight mediation or a straight resolution, nothing stops you from taking it a step further. And for us as Rotarians, I want to believe the next step would be, to take it up to the district level. Thank you very much.
Yes, I want to inside the sea.
Thank you very much. Any other question, please? Please, members are reminded to kindly mute your mics when you join the meeting. Please.
No, that's toilet.
Any other question?
Speak Israel. Oh.
Yes.
If the host, I think the host can actually mute them.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, is question there? Any further question? Okay, maybe I will ask another question. Sometimes it's easy for a president of a club to be the cause of conflict. So sometimes it's easy for the president to be the cause of conflict in the club because sometimes the president is seen not to be listening. The president is seen to be doing things his own way sometimes. So how do you also, what will you advise to maybe club presidents? How should they manage such situations? And to also try and bring everybody along.
Okay. Okay. I think this question is actually an easy one. This is something Rotarians do over and over and over again. Unconsciously, I would also want to add. Most times we make our presidents some form of demigod, which in all honesty, they are not. Now, every club is run by its bylaws. So there is something for club members to fall back on. And that is why it is always encouraged that Rotarians ought to be very knowledgeable. Everyone in the club should have an idea of what your bylaw states. Most times, most presidents are, stepping out and they are not being called to order. Now, the bylaw is one of the documents you have at hand at all times to call the president to order. So if a president is, not taking ideas, not taking, would I say, corrections, if that president is contravening the provisions of the club's bylaw, every club ought to have a board. It is now on the board to call for you can act, I don't know what your provisions are, but I know for us, we can actually call for an emergency meeting and say, look, Mr. President, look, Madam President, this is this is that. Nope, we won't take this, So you ought to have, that fallback to your club bylaws at all times to be able to put your president, not just the president, to put members, to put your, board of directors, to always put them in check. Because if they know you don't know, and they know you can't do anything, then of course, everybody who doesn't want to run, to run free. So I think it's for members to always be very much aware of what their bylaw states and the powers members have, as well as the powers the president have. So where you feel he or she is going ultra-virus, you use your bylaws to call the person to order. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have answered, but well, the question was our president. What about other club members? Maybe there will be members in the club who also feel they are untouchable and whatever they say should be the final, like they see themselves, like as you said, demigod in the club, not necessarily the president, maybe could be past president and so on. So how do we handle such situations?
You handle such a person at the level of your club assembly. Now, you see, the thing is this: there are members who, by virtue of being very old in Rotary, or by virtue of being very knowledgeable in Rotary, they kind of, with all due respect, they try to lord it over others. So it goes back to the same thing. Every Rotarian should be knowledgeable. So when someone is speaking, you can stand up and say, no, the MOP doesn't say that, the bylaws doesn't state that. But I understand what you mean. In situations like that, for us, what we do is, at our club assembly levels, we lay it all bare. When we have our club assemblies, we lay it bare and we go, okay, Mr. This, Mrs. That, we're not, we think you have gone out of your, you've gone out of your scope, basically. You've left the arena. So we would want you to retrace your steps. And I also think that there should be, another thing again that comes to play for us as Rotarians is we are all volunteers. So you can't but just help to appeal to the person's conscience, because I don't think there's really any kind of sanction or, whatever you can take on the person that would be so punitive per se. So it's more or less like an appeal to say this, and most times when the person is still, you just sidestep him, you use the avoiding conflict strategy and hope the person will redress or retrace his steps. Thank you.
All right,
I think someone is raising his hand. I'm not sure if it's a question. Someone raised his hand. I'm not sure if it's a question or a comment. Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead. Kindly unmute.
I have one more question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. My last question is, it is eminent that conflicts will arise in any human institution, again, because of issues of personality traits. Where you find people like sanguine who are occupying leadership positions, melancholies who are occupying leadership positions, different. How do you manage personality traits in any organization to even avoid conflict at all, let alone risk? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Like I said at the beginning, conflict is one thing that is absolutely inevitable. There would always be that interpersonal, there'll be that interpersonal squabbles. Most times, yes, there are people who have more domineering personalities than others. You have people who are so overly ambitious that they don't care whose toes they step on. Personally, what do I do? In my club, I keep them busy. People like that, I just keep them busy, and it makes it a lot easier for you, because most times, most people just feel, okay, you're not making use of me, I'm not involved in this, and I'm not involved in that. And then my own approach to it is, you want work, I will give you work. I just keep you busy. And most times you keep them busy and then the time just goes. Because what actually happens is, these are those persons' kinds of traits. It would take a lot. I mean, you can't just change somebody's traits overnight. You can't just change the way the person has been wired overnight. You can actually do it, but it will take time. So in the meantime, rather than have that person be a clog in the wheel, rather than have the person just constantly, make the whole club a mess, my own approach is always keep that person, he or she, keep him as busy as you can be. And you find most times you give them these things to do and they end up not doing it. But then I just keep, giving them those things, because the truth is there's really nothing you can do about it. Remember, we're a voluntary organization. It's not like if it was in your workplace, then maybe there will be some kind of, punitive measures that could be taken against that person. But all we do in Rotary is we just appeal to your conscience and appeal to your human side for you to just be considerate of others, be considerate of the club. So my own approach is just keep them busy. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you so much, Rotarian Ogechi. On this note, we will end the question times and contribution times. We all thank you for your questions and for your contribution. So I'll ask our past president, Francesca.
My president, sorry if I may come in with just this short question.
Okay, all right.
President Ogechi, it's so nice that I'm seeing you have this wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, it's good that you say that in your own way, you just keep them busy. Supposing you keep them busy and they are not able to carry out the assignments that are given to them, what do you do? What do you do?
Okay, it's okay when you keep them busy and they're not able to carry the assignment. Like I said, if I give you one assignment, you're not able to carry it out, I give you another. I will just keep giving you assignments till I find that, because I mean, the truth is this, these members are in your club and they are in your club. You cannot wave them up with just, you can't take them out with the wave of a hand. They are there, they are there. So it's part of management. And then again, it's not just a blanket thing to keep the person busy. Most times, people who have this kind of personality traits, they are always usually after something. Most times it might just be they feel they are not recognized enough. They feel, they are not given that kind of preeminence, so to speak. So I mean, for me, it's more of a give and take. If it's recognition you want, I recognize you every minute. As long as we get what we have to do, we get it done. If the recognition is not your kind of thing, if you just want to be out there that, oh, you're a very busy Rotarian, you're a very good Rotarian, you're always working, why not? I will indulge you and give you the jobs to do. There just has to be a way of managing people. And this also has to go with the personality of the person or the persons involved. So not necessarily just giving them work to do. I mean, if you look well, you would find out where those kind of, the negativities are rising from. And you can actually just tackle it from there. That's my own approach. Thank you, Rotary and President Gabriel.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Okay, President Gabriel, I hope your question has been answered well.
Yes, I'm satisfied.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So I will ask our Rotarian past president, Francesca, to give us the vote of thanks. Jeff Francesca, can you kindly unmute? Okay, I think she's having an issue with it. So I'll shift it to Rotarian Adelaide, if you can give us a vote of thanks.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Okay. Rotarian President, yes, fellow Rotarians, I think we can all agree that it's been an exhaustive topic with Ogechi. Ogechi, I think you've taught us a lot how to handle, members in our groups. We all have, since we are all human beings, by all means, we have conflict. And I'm happy that you've been here today. You've answered some pertinent questions. Rotarian Philip, am I lying?
Oh, she did, yes.
Very pertinent questions. And I'm sure we'll use it, and that we'll set up the past president's committee that you spoke about. Thank you so much, Ogechi. I hope that next time when we call on you, you won't shake your head, you will come and join us, and then we'll have a good union. Thank you so much. And thank you, all the guests. Happy to have you on board at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rotarian Adelaide. And Charter President Ogechi, we hope that this will not be the first time you fellowship with us, but you and your club members will always join us. And please let us also have your invitation so that we can also fellowship with your club. Thank you so much. So I'll ask our president-elect, Kwekuba, to take us through the fines and donations.
Good evening, and thank you, Lieutenant President. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, good. My name is Kwakuba, aka Rotarian Sugar. Although it is a joint meeting with our fellow Rotarian from Nigeria, I'm going to limit my fines and donations to my Ghanaian Rotarians. And first of all, I will start with my club, Rotary Club of Tema Meridian. As we are aware, any member who join our meeting have to at least buy a raffle ticket of 10 cedis plus a donation not less than 5 cedis. So on that note, I am expecting my fellow Rotarians to donate handsomely to my Momo number 0244 24 20 51. 0244 24 20 51. And to all those fellow Rotarians from other clubs, you can follow suit and donate into our club handsomely. Thank you, Mr. President. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rotarian President-elect Kwekuba. So we move to raffle. So I'm going to spin, and the winner will have, so we are going to have the first, which will be the winning ticket, and the second is going to be the losing ticket. So I'm going to spin, and we'll see who will be the winner. Okay. So the winner for tonight is Abraham. Abraham, can we see you or hear from you if you're online? Because you need to be online.
What do you know?
Abraham, are you online? Okay, I think Abraham is not online, so I'm good. Sorry?
He should be online. He's from my club.
Oh, it's from your
Abraham.
club.
Yes.
So, President, I will ask you to, since he's a winner, I'll ask you to send him a gift on behalf of
Okay.
For winning.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much. I will.
Okay, Abraham, congratulations for winning. So now we are going to the losing ticket. So Patrick is a retractor, and he has lost. So retractor Patrick, are you online? Okay, so we proceed to attendance report. Attendance report. So we had members of the Rotary Club of Abuja Gudu fellowship with us. So if your sergeant at arm is available, can he give us attendance for your club?
Chinelo. Rotary Chinelo, can you take it?
Yes, my president. Good evening, everyone again. So for the Rotary Club of Abuja Gudu, we had 11 members log in today. My president, am I supposed to call everyone's name?
No, just the number is fine.
Okay, so
just the number is fine.
Okay, so we had 11 members log in today, and then we had 4 guests and 2 Rotarians.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rotarian Blanks, if you're online, kindly give us attendance for Tema Meridian. Okay, unfortunately, I think Blank is not online, but I was able to capture 9 members from Tema Meridian joining the meeting. So we had 9 members joining from Tema Meridian. Thank you so much. And we also had visiting Rotarian. We had DG Dolly from District 33110. We also had Rotarian Jiggy from Accra Tesano. We had Rotarian Enrita Opon also joining us. Please, Rotarian Opon, which club are you from?
From Accra, Kanda, please.
Oh, okay, from Accra, Kanda. Thank you for fellowshipping with us. We also had RCAI board. I don't know who logged in with that. RCAI board.
That should be from us. That should be
from your club.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And we had Simply Sally. Is he also from your club?
That's from my club as well.
As well. Okay. So we had President Gabriel from RC State Central, who has been fellowship with us. President Gabriel, Happy you joined us tonight.
PBJ is here. You didn't mention
Yes,
his
we
name.
had PBVJ. PBVJ.
Yeah, I am very much a part of your club, so need not be mentioned.
Yes, PBVJ is our honorary member, and he's been doing so well.
Gabriel, you have to unmute. Gabriel, you need to unmute to speak.
I thought I had unmuted myself. I was just saying that I'm so sorry I came in late because I was also in a meeting of the Rotary Club of Kingston, Jamaica, while this was going on. And that was why I got in late. Then my other worry or concern, my present, is the fact that I was here at the meeting when the raffle draw took place, yet my name was not on the digs. So what really happened?
President Gabriel.
Was it intentional?
Gabriel, try again next. Gabriel, try again next week.
But then I thought that it was deliberately done so that I don't win anything. Well, thank God.
Try again next week.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you.
We also had President Marriott all the way from Zambia. Please, Chair Marriott, President Marriott, are you there?
Greetings, President. Yes, I'm around. I enjoyed the meeting. It's a pleasure joining you tonight.
Okay. Thank you for fellowshipping with us all the way from Zambia.
Yeah, greetings from Rotary Club of Mkwazi.
Mkwazi, okay.
Yeah, the home club for RID in Patrick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We also had Peter Wafula from Rotary Club of Kisugu, Victoria Views, Uganda. And we have Suresh Bharwani from Rotary Club Edgware sitting with us. And
yes,
we had Prosper from Rotary Club Accra Industrial.
Okay.
I thought I saw Ngari Wangari of the Rotary Club of Kilimani, Nairobi, Kenya. I thought I saw her too.
No, she did not attend. Gabriel, she was not there. Sorry.
So, Otera Suresh, thank you for fellowshipping with us, and greetings to your members as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Philip. Yeah, I will relay the message to our president. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. I also invited Salom. Salom has expressed interest to join Rotary. So, Salom, if you can introduce yourself. Kindly unmute. Okay, I think Salom cannot hear me, but Salom is actually a chartered accountant by profession. And I spoke with him during the week, and he decided to join our meeting tonight and also join Rotary. So unfortunately, I think he can't unmute currently. But next week, I hope he will join, and then he will be able to introduce himself. And we also had our Prinat from Accra Tesano. And we also had, I don't know who is Jiggy from Accra Tesano as well, fellowshipping with us.
Rotary President, Rotary Gigi is the president-elect for the Rotary Club of Accra Tesano.
Oh, okay. So, President Jiggy, we hope to see you more often since you are taking over very soon.
I'm sure she's left the call. She was on and she's left.
Oh, okay, he's left the call. Okay, all right. During the peak, I saw a total of 37 people fellowshipping tonight. So we want to thank you all for making time to be online, and for our guest speaker, once again, we want to thank you for your wonderful presentation. And for all members of your club, we also thank you for fellowshipping with the Rotary Club of Tema Meridian, and we hope to have more of such fellowship with you in the future. So thank you all for coming. So we are going to ask, I'm going to ask our president-elect, Kweku Ba, to depart the house.
long day and wonderful to be here. Thank you, my president.
All right. So, P. Sugar, kindly depart the house.
Vijay, I will see you on the other side. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Gabriel, for joining.
I think Rotarian Sugar has just left the meeting. So I'll ask Past President Elvina to please depart the house. People, Elvina, can you please depart the house?
All right. Rotarian President, fellow Rotarians and guests, while remaining in our homes, shall we charge our glasses and drink with me a toast to Rotary International and to all Rotarians wherever they may be.
Rotarians, wherever
they may be.
Thank you.
In fact, PP Elvina is the club advisor for. She's the club advisor for a new club that we have started, Rotary Club of Tema, come to 25. So she's a big woman in our district.
One and only.
One and only. Club advisor. So thank you all for joining us tonight, and thank you all for fellowshipping. Yes. Next week, let me announce this. Next week, we are going to have a talk on conflict in the home. As you all know, we've been talking about conflict, and this time we are going to the home. And we are very privileged to have a very experienced speaker next week. It's in the person of Pastor Bishop Steve Asari, and he's going to give us a talk on conflict within our home. He's a very seasoned family counselor, and we'll have him to give us a talk next week. So we are all invited, and we hope next week you equally fellowship with us. So the meeting has ended, so we can fellowship until finally we all depart. Thank you so much.